So I am here reevaluating this area. I made a video about this months ago. It's a video that not a lot of people have seen. It just wasn't a well-watched video, but there's kind of more to this that I have noticed, and I wanted to do a follow-up about this. So as you can see, something came through here, through this narrow channel, and knocked over, you know, somewhere around roughly 25 trees. And when you look back in there, it goes way back in there, a good 40, 50 feet from where I'm at. And there's healthy trees on the left and right of it. So there's no way wind came through here and did this. It's just not possible. And it's just a channel of trees knocked over and uprooted. It's very strange. Makes no sense. But this isn't the first time that this anomaly, if you will, has happened here. And that's what I want to prove in this video. See all of these trees. I mean, like this tree here, it didn't get uprooted. It got pushed over and broke clean off, hit the ground. That requires some serious force. But see, most of them did uproot. And see, that's the first one right here. This group of trees right here. And they were broke off, snapped clean off from the root. And then whatever did that to those trees then knocked over this group. This is 3 trees, uprooted them. And then it knocked this one clean off. And then it uprooted this. And then it continues on throughout there. Whole bunch of other trees. And you can see where the Tahoe is. You know, this is a stretch of, probably every bit of 100 feet. So something, and like I said, look here. That's a wall of trees, is a windbreak. And then right here, this is a wall of trees, is a windbreak. I mean, we are in a narrow little channel. And when this happened, there wasn't any leaves on these trees. Not that that really makes a big difference or anything, but it looked different when this first happened. This happened during the winter. But just trying to make sense of what could have done this. I mean, I would need a bulldozer to create this. And I mean, all these trees, this is, you know, totally uprooted, bent over. Whoa, shit. You know, all of that, those are enormous root systems. Just busted out. In fact, I'm going to get a different shot of all this. So looking at the direction of which all these trees were knocked over, you know, they all go that way. And then look at this arch in this tree. You know, it arches the same way, the same direction. And then these, you know, these are the deciduous trees. They're a lot more flexible. You know, they're a lot more bendy. And so apparently whatever came through here and knocked all these trees over, the deciduous trees, the leaf trees, they just bent and went kind of sideways, but they didn't uproot themselves like all the other trees did. But they're all definitely arched and bent in the same direction, in the same manner. You know, I mean, these things are all going this way, boom. There's a bunch of, you know, more uprooted trees, and then they continue on. And they go all the way out to here. And like I said, that's probably every bit of 100 feet from end to end. And it's about 30 feet wide. And just a crazy, bizarre, powerful force came through there and just had its way with all these trees and knocked them over like dominoes. And now I'm going to go up the road and present evidence that this is not the first time that this has happened out here. So this is an old pile of trees. And I've noticed this pile of trees up here, you know, many times, because it's always stood out to me that it's strange that they all have roots. You know, I've done slash cutting and I've done forestry work for the Department of Natural Resources. And nobody ever does any tree removal wherein the trees get uprooted. That's just completely unheard of. I mean, at least as far as I know. So these were obviously put here by a machine, by an excavator. And so I suspect, strongly suspect, that whatever happened in that footage before this, those trees that were knocked over like dominoes, that's not the first time that's happened up here. And this pile right here is a cleanup from when something similar happened in the past. These have been here for a while. I mean, these have been here for years and years. You can just tell by the look of them. But this isn't the only pile that is like this. There's another pile. And so I am postulating that whatever that was that knocked all those trees down back there in the forest has done that before. And this is my evidence of it. This was the cleanup from it, the aftermath from it. And I suspect that eventually an excavator will get sent out here and it'll clean up that mess of trees that I was just showing you. And a pile similar to this will be formed as a result of it. See, this is another pile of trees from years ago that also has roots attached to it. See, these all have their roots. And these are some long trees. This is a big old pile. Tree breaks and bends galore in here. But what I'm focused on for this video is this pile of trees over here, and that it's all covered in roots. It's just very weird. See, these were all uprooted. All uprooted. See, those are all roots. I know it's hard to show you, but like right there, I can get a zoom in. See, that's roots sticking out. And all that is covered in roots. You know, It's just completely and totally abnormal for loggers, for any forestry worker to come up and uproot trees. And yet all of this pile here, they all have roots on them. So obviously this is 3 big old piles that were put here by an excavator. And obviously something knocked all of these trees over. Somehow, all of these trees were uprooted. So that domino effect of trees has been a reoccurring thing out here. And I just happened to find one right after it had happened. And this is an area that I consider sort of my secondary research area. I don't spend a lot of time up here, but I have game cameras here, and I'm always kind of coming and sticking my nose around in here, but I don't camp out here. I don't really know this area as well as I should. But I am confident that there is Sasquatch out here, because their sign is everywhere. Obviously, I can't prove it was a Sasquatch that knocked over all of those trees, but I strongly suspect that it was a Sasquatch, maybe a couple of them. For whatever reason, they just started pushing over trees. I mean, if it wasn't a Sasquatch, then there's some kind of anomaly, some kind of anomalous force that comes through here from time to time and just knocks over and uproots big swaths of trees, because these piles prove that this has happened again and again. Pile. See, this is another pile, a big pile, and this pile too is all covered in roots. I mean, that's a giant pile covered in roots. Been there a while. So that's 3 piles of trees that were uprooted. I don't know. Okay, so this is the last one I'm going to talk about. This is another pile, a giant pile, and every tree had a root attached to it. And so I guarantee that whoever made this pile on a machine, they were doing so because all these trees were already knocked down. And they were just grabbing them and moving them and getting them out of the way and made a pile. Because there's no way an equipment operator would spend all that time uprooting all these trees when they could just send in a guy with a chainsaw and could just snip them all off. And so I'm going to be monitoring this area for probably years to come. And I bet that weird anomaly that happened down there with all those 25 trees knocked over like dominoes, it's gonna happen again out here. I just hope it happens somewhere where I can find it and document it, because this seems to be something that's happened again and again out here. So obviously I don't have evidence to really put the blame of these trees getting knocked over as being definitively from a Sasquatch. But with all of the anomalies I find, with all of the weird tree breaks, bends, structures, all the strange tree anomalies going on out here that I'm attributing to Sasquatch already, I think it's safe to bet, it's safe to assume that this anomaly here of all these trees being steamrolled over and uprooted, you know, it's safe to bet that that was from them as well. Obviously, it could be from something else, but whatever did it is some kind of anomaly that isn't normal. I mean, something came through there and just blasted through a 30 by 100 foot channel of trees and just knocked them over like they're nothing. I mean, that's pretty crazy in itself. That, you know, even to somebody that doesn't even believe in Sasquatch, has to admit that is pretty strange. The only thing that I could say that could do that would be like a meteorite. But then there would be a giant explosion, a giant crater. So, I mean, it's pretty safe to rule out a meteorite. You know, other than a meteorite, I mean, you would have to have, I mean, like a helicopter would have had to come through there and plow all those down. But I know damn well a helicopter didn't drive through the trees knocking them over. You know, it looks like something that machinery would have had to have done, but there's no tracks, there's no marks, so I know it wasn't machinery. So, you know, it's pretty strange. And typically when I'm finding tree behavior out here that's pretty strange, pretty, you know, anomaly-like, I blame it on Sasquatch. So I'm going to have to put this on their plate as well, because I don't know who else to blame this on.